Well, today we're going to show you how you can build the best chicken brooder for your flock. If you plan on raising chickens, a brooder is an essential thing for you to have if you're going to raise them from chick on up to adults, and to make sure that your chickens can maintain and live a happy, healthy life. By the end of this video, you're going to know what things you need to build this, and we're going to give you all the step-by-step construction of this whole project here so you can replicate this in your own home. So let's get started on how we build the best chicken brooder for your flock. Well, hey everybody, welcome back to Cattywampus Acres. It's Jason, and what we are doing today is a simple instructional video on building a simple chick brooder. We are mainly using stuff that we had laying around. I did have to purchase a couple things, but I'm going to give you some quick dimensions, and then I'm going to put it together with you so you can see how you can build your own and start with baby chicks today, because we all know it's chick season. If you've been to Tractor Supply or your local feed store, you know they're pushing the chicks on you. You know you want to get some. You know you've watched all of our other videos, and you know I got to get chickens. This is going to be your year. So you got to start with a chicken brooder, and we're going to build a very, very simple one to get you going so you can rock and roll with your own chickens. So right behind me here, I've pre-cut the bottom and sides of it. So what we're going to do, the plan is, we're going to put it on legs, but ultimately the bottom is 24 inches by 48 inches. So 2 foot by 4 foot. And we're going to be putting 15 chicks in here right away, so that's plenty of space. Then the sides are 18 inches tall, so it's nice and deep, so there's plenty of room in there. And so we have the 2 by 4, the 18 by 4, there's 2 of those, and then we have 2 18 by 24. So 2, 2, and 1. All right, so let's go ahead and get it together. Okay, so as you can see here, my boards are not exactly the same. These are 2 by 3s, these are 2 by 2s. Home Depot was out of 2 by 2s, and so we couldn't get any more other than what we had, and I had a 2 by 3. So it really doesn't matter. It's ultimately just we're building a frame for the inside. A lot of the strength is going to come from the actual OSB that we're using. Remember, this is going to be indoors. It's just going to have some pretty light little chicks in it, and so it doesn't require a ton of strength, just enough to make it not shift all over the place. And in my case, I want to keep it really light, because if we have to move it around, I'm going to keep it currently here in the workshop, but if we need to move it from place to place, I want to be able to pick it up by myself with no issues and move it to the side. So you could use the 2 by 3s for every piece. You could use the 2 by 2. Whatever you want to do will certainly work. Okay, so where we're at here is we've built the frame, and I've actually laid it on top. And I always recommend, this is a nice, perfectly flat concrete floor in our workshop. If you're able to do stuff like this on a concrete slab, it always works out better, and you get all your measurements are a lot more crisp because everything can just lay flat on there. So, like I said, we've put the frame underneath this. I've given myself, make sure I'm centered on here, and now we're going to attach the floor to the frame. We have the whole bottom frame done. It's attached to the OSB on the bottom. We have our 18-inch upright supports. So what we have here, the long boards are 45 inches, and then in between here it's 21, and then we have 18. And the reason that they're not exact measurements is to make up for the 1.5 inches of the 2 by 2s on either side. All right, as you can see, we have the ends done. Now we are attaching our long sides. Keaton, my lovely assistant, is doing that, and then we'll flip it over and finish the last side and prep for the legs. All right, as you can see, Keaton is installing. We've actually got the frame, got all 4. That's actually very secure with the 4 sides on, but now we're just going to install these top supports, and then our base box will be complete. We'll put on the legs and then build the top. All right, so as you can see, we have the inner and outer frame, or whatever you want to call it, upper and lower, whatever. So we've completed the whole box, and Keaton is going to lift it up and just sort of give me a guess. How much, what do you think we're weight's at?
Probably 50, 60 pounds.
Okay, so not too bad. He's thinking around 50 pounds. We'll see. Let me take a guess. Yeah, that's probably right. So you can make it lighter if instead of using OSB, you use like a really light plywood. Once again, this is being made with pretty much everything we had laying around. So not too shabby compared to some of the stuff we've had in the past. All right, next is legs. Okay, so now we are putting the legs on. I've cut them to 36 inches. And we're probably going to have to deal with a little bit of wobbliness that I can fix later once we get it set up. But trying to make it as simple as possible. So what I've done is I've just used 18 gauge staples and I've put the legs flush to one another. One on this side, one on this side. We're going to go around, continue this on all four sides, and we will show you what it looks like when it's all stood up. Okay, so hopefully you can hear me over the rain, but as you can see, this is our completed box. We'll be able to reach in here, scoop, pick up chicks, whatever we need to do. Now what we need to do is build the lid. It is very sturdy, and honestly, it's maybe 50 to 60 pounds total. Really not that heavy, being that as many chicks as this will be able to hold. It's very strong. I'm putting a lot of my weight on it. And then we made the top of it 36 inches tall, and everybody in our house, they have no problem getting in there with that height. So the next step is to build the lid. All right, so next on the agenda, I've sort of spaced out these 2x2s. I ended up having to pick up some more, and this is going to be the lid. This is the cage wire is what it's called, and it's just going to be 24 inches long. And I'm going to staple this into the top here, but I think I'm just going to do the 4. So these ended up being, I think about 49 inches long, and these are like 22 inches long. So I'm going to attach these all, and we'll see. We'll go from there, and then we'll just staple everything on next to make the lid. Hopefully y'all can still hear me good. It is pouring rain outside. It has been pouring rain nonstop. That's why this was the project for today. Got a little wobble in it. That is because the 2x2 is slightly twisted, but we'll get that out of there, no worries. So you can see I put 4 boards across there, and just if y'all are wondering, I'm just using 3-inch spack screws. I like those because I don't have to pre-drill. I have not split a single piece of wood, knock on wood, this entire project. So looking good. So now the next thing we're going to do is I'm going to roll out the cage wire here, and I'm going to put this on the top and staple it down. And so just briefly wanted to talk about this cage wire. Hardware cloth was what I wanted when I was at the hardware store. They only had a 50-foot roll of it, did not want 50 feet at all. That is typically a 1/4 inch square or a 1/2 inch square. This is a 1 inch square. I am guaranteeing somebody is going to say in the comments that, that this is going to let some predator in, that one of the chicks is going to jump out. No, it's not going to happen. First of all, I'm going to be keeping it inside of here, and secondly, it's on the top, and so the chicks aren't going to be able to jump through a 1 inch hole. Not happening. So if you want to comment that, that's fine. I will not heed those comments. Not worried about it. This will work perfectly fine, and it saved me about 30 bucks from something I did not need right now. Real quick tidbit. In my time raising chickens and animals, I found the best thing that for me to cut any kind of hardware cloth or poultry wire, anything like that, are just aviation snips. And so if you have these laying around, I like these ones the best. These are the yellow, these are the straight cutters. And so these always work pretty good. If it's thin enough, you can actually just get going along with them, but that's what I like. And so it's going to go around across the bottom here. I've rolled it out to the size I need, which is pretty close to 4 feet, and it's already 2 feet across, so it's going to be the perfect size. Then we're going to use our stapler and staple it on. Okay, I used 18 gauge 1/2 inch staples, DeWalt to be exact, and so she is on there, attached really strong, and I will probably, just looking at it, I'll probably put that face down. All right, what I've done is I've added the hinges. I took some old hinges I had laying around. They're the long ones. I'll show you here in a second. And I bent them around the end because this is what I had. I may replace them later, but this definitely works for now. Like you can see down there, you can see a little bit of wobbliness. Like I said, I will take care of that later. Not worried about it. But right there you go. Let me show you a couple things that I added that are pretty important. So you can see the way I did these hinges. This is what I had laying around. I just bent it around there. I put it in the vise and shaped it. That'll work very good for right now. This looks very, very odd, but what this does is when the door is up, it holds it open and does not allow it to hyperextend those hinges. Well, all right, we've made it to dark time and we have completed our project. As you can see, I have our heat lamp on here already going. It's getting nice and toasty in there. I added this post here and I will take you around and show you that. I'll give you all the rundown here in a second. So as the birds get older, you can actually move this up and down, and if you really wanted to, another option you have is to go across the top, and then you can basically hang it directly so you can put it in the middle or whatever. These things are sort of janky, but they work pretty good. But ultimately, what we're going to have to do is have it down here on the surface, and then when we need to get in and access them, we can just pop it off and get in there and get to them. So let me take you around the whole thing and give you a little spin and tour of the whole shebang. So here you go. We're at 36 inches here. This is 2 feet by 18 inches. The length is 4 feet by 18 inches. This is our door support so we don't hyperextend these hinges. This is how I built this. I just put a couple scrap pieces over here and mounted this, and then this has the ability to pinch, and you can tighten these, y'all. Like you can put zip ties around them. There's a million different things you can do for these. So there's our support. Like I said, if you wanted to go off of this and go across the top, as long as you had clearance for your door, which this is 44 inches from top to bottom, you could actually mount something over the top and you could swing it back and forth. So here's the inside. Very simple, y'all. What we'll use in here is pine shavings, and then you can just come in here with like a dustpan or a scooper and scoop them out. And there'll be plenty of space for, I would say we could easily have 25 chicks in here with no problem. And they'll be able to move about freely, and when they get to jumping age, it won't be an issue because we can have that guy closed right there. So we don't have to worry about them jumping out or anything like that. If you wanted, if you're nervous about a cat or something, final addition, just so it's easier to clean, I got me some remnant, you can probably see it cut over there, some remnant linoleum, and just laid that down in here. It can be glued or not, don't really matter. I just cut it to fit for the bottom, so when everything soaks through the wood chips, it won't be an issue. The sides really won't be a big deal. And that, folks, is how we built this chicken brooder. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put some links up on the screen all around me here so you can subscribe to our channel if you really like these videos. And I'm going to put a link to all of our chicken videos right maybe over in this region so you can check it out. Make sure you check out all of our chicken stuff. Make sure you follow us on all platforms: Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, YouTube. And we will be here to serve you and to show you how you can raise your own chickens.